Come on, dance with me. I got you. Moonlight, you're my starlight. I need you all night. Come on, dance with me. I got you. Moonlight, you're my starlight. I need you all night. Come on, dance with me. I got you. Moonlight, you're my starlight. I need you all night. Come on, dance with me. I'm levitating. You want me? I want you, baby. My sugar boo. I'm levitating. The Milky Way. We're renegading.
Hello everybody and welcome back. It is Monday, October 18th, 2021, and you are listening to episode 122 of the Can I Say Something podcast. I'm your host and a recluse with the Juicy Caboose, Damien. Joining me today is Gage. Today on the show, we will be discussing, with spoilers for everything always, the #1 Netflix show Squid Game, Ted Lasso, in addition to everything we've been watching, playing, and listening to for the past 3 months. Right into the show, bicycle@gmail.com, bicycle on Twitter, subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify, rate and review it on Apple Podcasts, tell a friend, family member, stranger. Dan, what's up, buddy? How we doing?
Good, man. How are you?
Fantastic. Long break, long hiatus.
Yeah.
The people demanded it. The people were clamoring. The people were tweeting. The people were emailing. I was getting accosted on the street saying, when is the podcast coming back? I need it. I need it in my veins. Bring it back. They were demanding it. So we're here doing the thing. Feels good. Feels good to be back.
Look at us. Who would have thought, huh? Look at us now.
Woo! Started in the bottom. Now we're in the less bottom.
Yeah, a little bit higher than the bottom.
We come back with experience. We're not coming back. We got the experience. We're now coming back. We're not starting from scratch. We're starting with experience.
Sure.
Hey,
we won't tell them it took us 30 minutes to get this whole thing up and running. Troubleshooting.
We won't tell them that it took you a day to find your shit.
Yep. It won't. We won't tell them that I waited in your driveway for 20 minutes for a memory card.
being accosted by my fucking
being accosted. Yep.
By my neighbors that have a driveway full of old beat up RVs and motorcycles and other accoutrements. But of course, my buddy sits there for 10 minutes and he's not allowed. That's not allowed. No.
Nope. Yeah, it's funny. They've definitely got more junk in there since the last time I was in there.
Anywho, we got a packed show today. We got talking about Squid Game, talking about Ted Lasso. But first, let's talk about what we've been watching, what we've been doing, what we've been up to for the past 3 months. Dion, give me some of your highlights. What's some of the best stuff you've seen, what you've played, you've done the past 3 months?
Ted Lasso, hands down, is the highlight of those 3 months. I watched the movie Luca.
Nice.
That was a fun movie. I enjoyed that movie. My kids enjoyed it. It's great.
Yes.
We had a little movie night, so it was a good time there.
Nice. Yes. What'd you think of it? Quick review.
I thought it was great. Yeah.
Yes. All right.
I thought it was fun. It was a cool premise. There was that whole thing where they were like saying, "Oh, like these boys are gay," blah blah blah. I'm just like, nah, it's just bros, dude. They're just burrowing down. They're like, one got jealous at the end. Well, yeah, because like he was abandoned. Duh. Spoilers. Sorry, everyone, but yeah. I mean, it all made sense story wise. It doesn't like I get it. Like you, people want to feel included in all their stuff, but you don't have to go like ham fisting it in there. You know, it's just like they're gay, and I don't even think like gay people, the gay community was really clamoring for it. But I don't know. Yeah. Either way, my kids cracked up for the whole thing, and it was just a cute movie. So yeah, I really enjoyed that.
Very nice.
You watched Luca, right? You enjoyed that?
We talked about it on here when I watched it. I think right when it came out on the Disney Plus. I said it was basically like a Ghibli movie with like a Ponyo or something like that. You know, a lot of the Ghibli movies, also with the Pixar movies, a lot of them can have not convoluted plot, but a complex plot of we have to the Wall-E, we have to save the world or whatever. A lot of Pixar movies will have this big bombastic scope to them, and this is like a nice little story, a nice little compact and intimate story about two kids having fun together. So that was cool.
I mean, ultimately, like the end goal was a bike race. You know,
Yes.
I mean, they found other stuff along the way, but it's just like that. It didn't have that like ultimate ending kind of thing. Like, oh, it led to this. It's just like, it was like a bike race, and it was just a very easy watch,
Yes, indeed. So anything else you want to talk about? I got a couple things to dive into, but anything else you want to talk about before I go into my stuff? Okay.
Go ahead. Okay. I am interested to hear this gigantic list of things that you have watched in this 3-month hiatus.
Yeah. I won't go into all of it, but just some of the quick highlights. I did just finish up Midnight Mass like half an hour before we hopped on the mics. This is from Mike Flanagan, same director, writer of things like Haunting of Hill House, Haunting of Bly Manor, Hush, Ouija, Gerald's Game, and Dr. Sleep. Those last two were based off of Stephen King books that he wrote. And I feel like Midnight Mass is very much an homage to old Stephen King. If you've read Salem's Lot, if you've read Pet Sematary, I think it's very much an homage to those two things. The first one, again, spoiler for everything we're talking about here today, but Salem's Lot, if you go into this knowing that, with that in mind, I think it'll be quite a bit of a spoiler, but I think Mike Flanagan, he grew up in Salem, Massachusetts, so loves that sort of northeastern sort of feel to it, has that, Stephen King aesthetic to it, that feel of a Stephen King book, being cold, being isolated, being in the woods at night in the fall. I think Mike Flanagan has a huge influence. I think one of the huge influences for him is Stephen King, and he wears that on his sleeve, and he's very proud of it. So this is very much Salem's Lot type thing. I won't say exactly what the thing is, but it has a lot to owe for it. It owes a lot of its story and feeling to that particular book, and that's all I'll say about that. But just generally on Twitter and on TikTok, a lot of the criticisms of this has been, holy shit, there's a lot of what's it called? Monologues. A lot of monologues in the show. This is a monologue of the show. Yeah, a lot of monologuing. There's a point at the end of the show, again, not specific spoilers, but there's always that point in a lot of thrillers or horror movies where somebody is escaping and they'll look back at the town or the thing or whatever and be like, oh, goodbye town, goodbye my old life, goodbye everything I ever lost. When they need to get the fuck out of there, they're on this boat. Just before they leave the boat, they do that turn, the look, like, oh, mom, dad, everybody I loved, goodbye, and just get the fuck out of there. You are in danger. You're not safe yet. Once you're in safe hands, once you're safely away from the thing that's chasing you, then do the monologue, then do the reminiscent, then do the waxing poetically. Do that then when you're away from the danger. When you're still on the shore and you're still capable of being harmed, don't monologue. Don't do that there. That's not the time and the place for that. Get the fuck out of there.
Imagine this for an ending. Would catch it.
Yeah.
They do the monologue, then they turn back and they're just like, home. And they're just like, a single tear. And then they turn around like Jason standing in front of them. It's just like, and then the screen cuts to black.
Yeah.
There you go. That's a perfect example. It's just like, dude, get on the boat first and then watch as you sail off into the distance. It's stupid. Yeah, I know what you're saying. It's you always like, how can someone be in this situation and still be so devoid of awareness, Crazy.
Yeah. Really liked it. I really, Haunting of Hill House was one of my favorite things I've seen in the past 10 to 15 years. I've seen most of Mike Flanagan stuff, so this is up there. I would put it like number 2 or 3 of the Mike Flanagan verse, I guess you would call it, in terms of the Dr. Sleep. Dr. Sleep was very good. You should definitely check that out. Hush was okay. I think Hush was probably down the list, but yep, another great Mike Flanagan joint. So highly recommend that.
Cool.
Yep. So let's see. Let's get into Squid Game. Let's get into the stuff, the stuff I want to get deep into before I get to more of the stuff I listen to. If we have time at the end, I'll talk about some of the games and books I've been reading. But for now, Let's get into Squid Game.
지금 이 자리에 계신 여러분들은 모두 감당할 수 없는 빚을 지고 삶의 벼랑 끝에 서 계신 분들입니다. 증가를 원하지 않는 분은 지금 말씀해 주시길 바랍니다.
무궁화 꽃이 피었습니다입니다.
그 옛날에 어릴 때 하던 거 말이야?
So this is the most watched thing on Netflix ever. I just saw a stat the other day where Netflix made like $1 billion. Like literally they generated $890 million worth of views, I guess, which is weird because they never show their actual view count. They never show how many people are actually watching the stuff. So it's always like when they come out with it, it's like, this is the best thing we've ever put out. It's the most popular thing ever. Okay. Based on what?
Yeah, show me the numbers.
Show me the money.
Show me the numbers cut. Ugh.
Yeah. So whatever. Most watched thing ever. Witcher, Bridgerton, and Lupin and the Money Heist apparently are in the 2 to 5 spots. So that's interesting.
Yeah, if you haven't watched Squid Game at this point, congratulations. Peer pressure means nothing to you.
Yeah, exactly. Being the communist I am, being the dirty, stinking communist I am, anything or where I watch it where it's, like the platform, Parasite, things like that, where it's just like, yeah, this is about economic inequality. I just know that. Going into this was
classism.
Classism, exactly. What were the subtle critiques of economic inequality? Was it subtle to you going into this for somebody like you who's a known capitalist? You're a lover of capitalism.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. No, I don't. Money. You thought it was subtle. I didn't think it was very subtle. I mean, the whole thing, you just started out, it's like poverty based, and then you kind of find out along the way that this whole thing was orchestrated to collect the lower class. So I don't think it was subtle at all. It was just very on the nose there. That that's what was happening here.
Yeah. Some people have been like, is this subtle? Is this too subtle, or is this on the nose? I think it depends on who you are and do you think about that stuff? Is it obvious to you? I think it can go over some people's heads. So let me see.
Yeah, maybe
here.
A rich person watching or something.
Exactly.
Be like, I didn't get that. I didn't catch that.
Yeah, exactly. So the first few minutes, we won't go episode by episode, but I just want to talk about the first few minutes were pretty obvious to me. They're doing the titular Squid Game. It's a game where you have to get from the outside to the inside of this giant of these rings. And if you're on the outside of the ring, you can only use 1 foot, and you can use 2 feet once you're in the inner circle, quote unquote inner circle. So I took that as an obvious metaphor for being in the 1%. Being on top of the economy, being top of whatever. It's the same way being poor is living life on 1 foot, and rich is living on 2 feet. So there's that.
Yeah. I saw that you wrote that down, and I was thinking about it more. I was like, yeah, I can see that. Like if that could have been a subtle nod to the classism and such like that. I actually, when they were explaining it, I was interested, but at the same time, I was distracted, so I wasn't getting the full vibe for it. I was just like, they're just playing a game, and these are the rules of the game. But then you're looking at it later on, you'd be like, it meant maybe more than that. I got you.
Right. Do you want to tell the folks how you watch this? Because you just mentioned being distracted. I feel like go ahead. It
was like a Ricky Bobby moment when he calls up his buddy and he's like, when I want the TV on and the stereo on at the same time, he's like, why you put those both on at the same time? He's like, because I like to party. So this madman here, the natural preset on my Netflix has dubbing for everything. It doesn't matter if it's whatever it is. It just has words, because sometimes I turn the volume down and I'm just reading. I don't want to disturb my wife or subbing. Whatever.
That's sub.
What's that?
That's not dub.
Subs.
Yeah. Natural sub.
So I got the subtitles on naturally for everything that I've watched.
Okay.
And now here, the option to have it dubbed or listen to it in its natural language. I chose to watch it dubbed. So I'm watching it dubbed and subbed. And let me tell you, that was an experience. Distraction was like peak distraction, because the subbing and the dubbing, they don't add up. None of it adds up. They were saying it was like 2 different movies being watched. And like there was a point where she kept calling what was his name? The guy with the tattoo.
Yeah,
Jang. Yeah, he was calling Jang babe, and the subtitle was saying old man, or maybe it was the other way around, but it was old man. I'm like, these two things are wildly different. Like one is a term of endearment, and the other one is insulting, and it just kind of like took me out of the whole thing. I'm like, is this supposed to be like a pet name, or is this supposed to be like I'm mad at you, calling you mean names? Like, I don't know. It was just funny. And I said, if you want an experience, watch it subbed and dubbed at the same time. And I think I texted it to you, and I think I gave you an aneurysm. Did I?
Well, it's your choice. Like, I have it written down. That's like dark, chaotic energy. It's needlessly elaborate. It's like trying to eat ice cream with chopsticks. It's just like a thing that you chose to do to make your life more difficult. I feel like that's such a weird way to go about it. It's just weird. It's not good or bad. It's just weird. It's weird. It's needlessly elaborate, I think, is the best way to put it.
I'll admit there were a couple times in like some episodes where I'm like, do I need to have it subbed or dubbed? Because it was getting too much for even me. Like, I'm like, I can't keep track of what they're saying. And there came a point like later in the episodes, I'm like, I'm not even gonna watch what it says in the subtitles. I'm just going to listen to what they said. And that was actually a lot better. Like, I processed it a lot better. And it was just, It was super distracting the whole time. It was like I'm having a conflict with myself. And I was watching two different shows. It's incredible. I challenge you to watch at least one episode like that. Just give it a shot. See what I mean?
Well, I mean, I did sort of in a way, because I saw these clips on Twitter and TikTok of these clips of the dubbed versions of their conversation. I was like, yeah, that's terrible. That is not great. And I feel like people watch a lot of Ghibli movies. You guys watched, what was the two Ghibli movies we watched last year?
Spirited
Away and Princess Mononoke.
Mononoke, yep.
People point to those as being like, yeah, this is a situation in which it is quote unquote fine to watch those dubbed because they have actual, Hollywood actors playing the people. And it's like, well, I sort of get it, but I don't at the same time, because just because you're a Hollywood actor doesn't make you a good voice actor, right? You can be a good live action actor and do that, but then your acting ability, your ability to emote, right, doesn't always translate when you're only using your voice, I feel like. And also it's just an immersion thing for me. It's mostly an immersion thing where if I'm watching a Korean thing or Japanese thing or Chinese thing with American voices, it takes me right out of it. It takes me all the way out of it because it's just, this is an American voice. Because
the lips moving?
Because the lips are moving and it's just a white dude. Yeah, why did I send you that TikTok, right? Of somebody doing the same thing you did, where the guy's watching it dubbed and he's like, well, I guess this is how it's meant to be. And he's just like, whoa, I am this man and I am going to throw this down in the floor. I need money, sir. Sir, please loan me the dollar bills, please. I need some whatever Korean, what are they called? The Korean dollars? I Googled it a bunch of times. The Korean dollars, Korean whatever it is to dollars. Wong, Jong, I forget, whatever it was, but it's just like, I'm broke. I need money. Hello, sir. Hello, fellow Korean man. Would you like to play a game? Okay, here's the game. Throw these envelopes on the floor. Good try. Let's try this again.
That's a little egregious, but a little exaggeration there.
Okay, all right. Anyways, let's.
It blows it up to 100 because that's something that you're sensitive about. Like me, on the other hand, when I'm watching things with subtitles, I get very frustrated because I'm too busy trying to read what it says. Like, you can read fast, I get it, but like when there's a lot of stuff coming up, like it does take you out of actually watching a show. Now you're reading, but you're also like you're watching. Like, if you had to do a percentage, like it's like 60-40. Almost at certain times if there's a lot of dialogue to read. So like you're not taking in the scenery or the sets or the imagery or any of that sometimes because you're too busy reading subtitles. I get frustrated about that, but that doesn't bother you too much, I don't think.
No.
Yeah, so we all got our thing.
Sure. So let's actually get into the plot of what this is. This is basically a show about where's his name? Song Gi-hong is a broke guy. He's terribly in debt. Living with his mother. A man approaches him. They never actually said the name of the guy, said the name of the character. I'm trying to see if they have the actual actor here, but they don't. But so a guy approaches Gihang in the subway. Is like, do you want to play a game? If you can take this red envelope and knock it over, I'll put this face down on the ground. If you can knock it to the other side with a green envelope, I'll give you 100,000 whatever Korean dollars. He's like, okay, but if you can't do it, I'm going to slap you in the face every time you fail. So they probably play this game for like a couple hours, and he finally gets the money. And then at the end, the guy's like, do you want to play a different game? Call this number, and in a few days, you'll play a different game. And so he calls the number. The guy, this random van comes and picks him up, and there's these people passed out in the van, and they knock him out, and he wakes up in this dormitory with all these other people. And the first game they play is red light, green light, and so there's this statue in the background, or in the far end of the field, and every time it turns its back, you can walk forward. If it turns around, you have to stop. That's basically the game of red light, green light. And so they do this, and the first time the thing turns around, somebody doesn't stop right away, and you hear bang, and the guy falls dead. Or you don't know what happened. You hear bang, the guy falls down, and the other person says, "Hey, what are you doing?" They look at him, and he starts bleeding out of his face, and everyone freaks out, and fucking bullets start flying. So you realize, oh, this is a Hunger Games. This is a battle royale type thing, but was very, very, very elaborate games. So that is basically what's going on here. You have 456 people playing this game, and as the numbers go down, as the number of people go down, the amount of money that you can win goes up, because all the money that they owe gets transferred into this giant ball of money.
It's a piggy bank.
The piggy bank that sits on top of the dormitory that they're all living in. So it's this reminder that, hey, if you survive, you will get all this money, which is another, not so subtle allegory about capitalism. So that's basically what the show is about.
So,
Yes.
question for you: when after that game, and they all go back, and they're all like, "We can't keep doing this," but then the money starts falling in to the to the thing,
right?
Like the looks on their face, where what's that classism? Kind of, because you're looking at it already, and you're just like, all right, they're poor people that got stuck in this position,
right?
Because rich people want to get their jollies off. But when you see these broke ass people, seeing the money fall after freaking out that their life was on the line, and then suddenly they're just like, well, that's a lot of money up there, and then they decide to stick around. What message is that sending? Because we got the other message, like rich people superior, poor people suck. But like, what's the message that's being sent when the poor person looks up there and just like, oh shit, I just watched 200 people die, and I was scared for my life, and I want to go home, but that's like $200 million up there. No, stick around. Stick around now.
So what's the allegory, or what is the message that's sending?
Like what's that message? Because like I'm saying, like the classism thing, immediately we just go like, rich people bad, good, or poor people good in this situation. It's just like, they're just trying to keep you down, but what's the turnaround there?
It's not rich people good or rich people bad, poor good, because they're showing that there are people like Ali and people like the old man who are just suckers, right? They're just the quote unquote, the innocent people. Then you have people like you said, Zhang, who are willing to kill other people for it. So there are shades of gray within the class, within the poor class, right? That's what they're trying to say there. But if you think about real life, right? Who actually, if you're poor and you want to go to college, what's the best way to go to college? If you want to get a free scholarship, what's one way in which a poor person, but
get those good grades?
Who gives out? What's a way in which if you don't get good grades, another way you can get a scholarship? If you what's a industry?
Get those student loans.
What am I trying to say? What's a institution that offers free college if you do a thing? The Army,
the military.
Right? You can sign up for the military and get free tuition. So that right there, I think, is a direct allegory to what they're talking about here. You can sign up for the Army, put a gun in your hand, and choose to go overseas and kill some other people for the Army, or do whatever. You don't have to kill people necessarily, but it is a situation where you're putting your life on the line for the chance at a college education. That pretty much right there is a one-to-one allegory where you're putting money in front of poor people and saying, you could die, but we're going to give you some money for it, right?
Right.
That's what I took away from that.
Ultimately, throughout the whole game, it was a very democratic process. I mean, they were given choices, and it's not like they were held against their will.
But that's
mostly they just had to follow the rules.
See,
of
that's
the situation they were in.
That's another subtle point that they're trying to make. If you exist in this world, right, and you say I don't like capitalism, people will say, well, you don't have to participate. You literally can just be homeless. You don't want to participate. You don't like capitalism. Well, I guess you're better. But then think about if you're rich, right? If you're rich and you speak out against inequality, well, then you're a hypocrite, right? So nobody really wants to talk about inequality in the economy. But it's the same thing where they say you can leave. You can choose not to participate in this game. In the same way somebody can say, don't like your job? Well, quit. It's like, it's not that easy. You know what I mean? It's another way that you can, where society says, well, if you don't like your situation, you don't like your job, you don't like your life, well, change it. Well, in the same way that the saying in Squid Game, well, if you don't like the game, don't play it. You don't want the money. You don't want the chance at this grand prize. Well, you can leave. We're not forcing you. Again, it's the whole thing of like, you don't have to participate. You don't like this. You don't like capitalism. Well, fuck you. You can leave. We're not forcing you to do anything, right?
Well, I mean, I guess they kind of forced them. It had to be majority ends the game, So
Right.
they all had to come together and stop it. As a joint decision. So
Right.
But yeah, I know what you're saying. Yep.
Yeah. So let's see. So going into like the series itself, they right. You say they chose to leave, but then you see, just like in real life, where if you choose not to participate, you just get fucked. Like the guy. There's so many people here where, like Jang, who you think is in there just to play the game. Like he just wants to play, right? He's this tough guy. He's this tough gangster type. And you think, okay, he just went in there because he wants to kill a bunch of people and get the money. Well, not necessarily, because then you see the fact that he was in debt just like everyone else. Like the gangsters that he was working with or working for come after him because he lost a bunch of money, which is kind of weird. I don't know how you run a gambling house and lose a bunch of money, but they do eventually turn on him. And it's that thing where it's another point that they're making of, you think you are participating in outside of society. You think you're participating outside of capitalism. You think you're participating in the, the underground economy. But even when you participate in the underground economy, it can still turn on you if you fuck up. If you lose your money and just, what's it called when you lose all your money in poker? You crap out. What's that called?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, there's a name for that. But yeah, basically,
played too much poker.
In any situation, in any level or place that you make your money, if you screw up, it's going to capitalism will turn on you. It'll chew you up and spit you out, no matter what direction, no matter what industry you're in, right? So that's where
I think Jang's situation was he spent his boss's money. Like you got to look at it like I think it was just like there's a head and there's generals and then there's like the peons, and I think Jang was a general.
Yeah, for a while.
But he spent money that should have gone to the boss, and then the boss caught wind of it, and that's why they turned on him.
Right.
He wasn't the top of his food chain in that instance, and he was definitely doing some stuff that he shouldn't have done in that hierarchy. So that's why they turned on him, and then they fed him to the people that he owed the money to.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they were talking about a boss, like getting all uptight about it. But yeah, there you go. He's an employee, though.
He's an employee. Exactly.
The boss.
Exactly.
It's just like, all right, you crossed me, so now you get yours.
Exactly. So everybody basically, when they choose to leave, has to go back at the end of episode 2. Go back and didn't they say something like where in the next episode they all they turned out the lights and everyone is killing each other, and they were like, yeah, this is the next game, just survive. Didn't they say something like that? Yeah. So the next game is basically just survive this.
Well, they were what they were doing was they were, I don't know, culling the herd, I guess.
Yeah.
In there, like getting rid of the weak ones. It wasn't actually a game, but you find out that the employees gave less food or something to actually start that riot, to start the whole thing. Which,
there you go.
I don't know, maybe they didn't want anyone to to vote again and just be like, hey, no, don't end this game. Maybe that was a ploy to keep it all running. Get rid of the ones that were going to be soft, because the ones that just killed everybody else, they're going to be like, nah, I'm in it for the long run. Like, what's the next game? Bring it.
Well, there is another nod to real world stuff where you take away resources, you make people desperate enough to do things and turn on each other. Basically, what the whole thing is about, and what I forgot to mention earlier, was that it's all about turning people on each other, so they're not aware of who's actually screwing them over. So yeah, episode 3, everyone turns each other, kills a bunch of people, each other. You see the old man just during all this. You think he's like delusional. You think he's sort of he's got dementia or whatever, and he stands up in the middle of that, says like, what did he say? He's like, everybody,
I'm scared.
I'm scared.
I'm
Yeah,
scared.
Exactly. So knowing the end and knowing that he is the one running everything, that seems sort of makes sense, right? Makes a lot more sense.
I mean, I don't know why he would have done that, otherwise. And that's like the thing there too. Like, I don't know. I feel like that could be a plot hole there. I'm not sure. Like, maybe it got too out of hand, and that's why he was legitimately scared for his life. Or he somehow knew this prior to. Well, I mean, they've had other games. This has been going on for a while, I guess. But maybe this was a common thing that they did. Just like, all right, this time we're going to short everybody's food. They're going to fight each other. And then when you think enough has gone down, you just get up on your bed and start screaming, I'm scared. But the thing is, like, what if someone got him? Was he in there just because he wanted to feel alive?
Yes, exactly. Yep. Yeah.
Okay. That was weird to me. Like, when you find out later on, I know what you're saying. Like, all right, that's clearly he stopped this because, that's how this was designed. But like, I wonder if it was actually more than that. Like, it was getting out of hand, and he's just like, all right, I need to end this now, otherwise I might be next.
Yeah. So let's just talk about some of the games, or move on to some of the other episodes. So you have that game where they had to make a shape. They had to cut the shape out of a cookie, and Gi-hong gets the most difficult shape, an umbrella. But he gets it out by licking it. Everyone starts licking their own honeycombs when they see him start doing it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I like the look on everyone's face. They're like, what the fuck is this guy doing?
Exactly.
Goddamn you, Sang-woo.
And this is
He's
where,
just all like, go ahead.
Yeah, this is where we see Gi-hong, or what's her name? Deok, get help from player 2112. We only know her as 2112 at that time, but then she reveals herself as Hanmi Nyo, the one that keeps calling him, would she call him babe all the time?
Old man. Babe.
This is the beginning of that relationship, because she helps him win the game by giving him the lighter to heat up the little, what do you call it, little wire thing.
The needle.
Yeah.
I think it was a needle, yeah.
Yeah, so then we see one of the staff members gets held hostage for a second because a scared player took him hostage and forced him to unmask himself. And then that guy's killed, and then the staff member kills himself, or another staff member kills him. I forget which happened. So then later on in the next episode, we find out that player 111 is a disgraced doctor who's helping to harvest organs to sell in the black market, which is just, that's an interesting like layer on top of all of this shit, which is kind of, you sort of see it coming, but it's also something that didn't really need to be in there. Also, speaking of things that didn't really need to be in the show, I don't think the subplot with the police officer finding his brother needed to be in there. But also, if that wasn't in there, the reveal for who is like running things doesn't mean anything, right? So I don't know. Kind of. Man,
I'll tell you what, that police officer thing. Like, as soon as he got there, it's just like, and then you saw the dude in the black jumpsuit with the mask that was different than everybody else. So you're like, that's his brother. Yeah. There wasn't a doubt in my mind that wasn't his brother. And maybe that's a little bit of I don't know. You've watched Battle Royale. If that was carrying over, because once you learn that this was a game that happened before, like, there's possibilities like somebody from a previous game could be one of these employees, could be this person. And they were talking about how he had disappeared, time before. And it just made sense that like he could have been a winner of one before that. And it was like Battle Royale where like, there's one character in the movie or in the book, that was a previous winner, he got put in the tournament again, and that wasn't supposed to happen, but he did. So it's just like it's kind of like a common trope with this kind of battle royale stuff. Like, well, I think we'll talk about it later, but it's just when you have a show like this that doesn't have like an ultimate winner. Well, it does have an ultimate winner, but there's always like some kind of like fuckery going on where it's just like, we're gonna turn and we're gonna unite against the people that are doing this. Like, you never get the real feel of it. Why can't you just have a match where someone wins? And that's kind of what I wanted to see. Like, we got the cop angle where he finds his brother and you find out who he is. But I want to know. I want to watch the games, the Squid Games that took place where that guy just straight up won. Because he seems like an asshole.
Yeah. So I mean, did you think that like that whole storyline sort of was extra weight on the show? Like, it didn't really need to be there.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't need to be there. Like, that guy could have been anybody. You didn't have to have a cop searching for him. He could have just been like, yeah, I played in a different tournament, blah, blah. I don't even think you found that out. You didn't find out that he was actually a winner of another tournament. I'm just saying that could have been a possibility. And that whole line of the show it was just a gross thing that I mean, I get it, like selling the organs and stuff like that. Yeah, that's the thing. That's another gross element of this underbelly, the dark underbelly of that. I don't know what word I'm looking for. But then like they went even farther remember when they were like operating on someone that was still alive. All these people are still alive because you got to harvest these organs and not ruin them. But then they're like talking about how they I don't know, defiled, one of the people that they took apart. And it's just like, what is this even? Like, you don't need this part. I get it, but I feel like this storyline was just all shock factor.
Sure. Yeah. Let's move up a little bit because I want to talk about the tug of war match, which was interesting. Again, thinking about the old man sort of pulling the strings in the background, because he talks to them and says, tug of war isn't about just strength; it's about strategy as well. So he tells them to first, everybody lean back as hard as you can for as long as you can to wear out the team, and then start pulling them forward, which works for a little bit. But then the other side starts pulling them forward, and I forget who says it, but they said, take 3 steps forward to sort of trip them
ballsy.
up. Very ballsy. Trip up the other team, make them fall backwards, and then pull them forwards. And which normally wouldn't really work in a normal tug of war match because you just let go of the rope normally. But unfortunately, in this scenario, everyone is handcuffed to the rope, so even if they let go, doesn't really matter at all. So they do eventually win. A pretty interesting cliffhanger. I know when Andy was talking about watching this, he would only watch one episode a night. And I think this was one of the ones where he watched both in one night, because there's a pretty good cliffhanger from episode 4 to 5, right?
Yeah, there were a couple episodes like that. Yep.
Yeah. So eventually, Gi Young's team obviously wins that, and then in the 6th episode we have the Marble episode, which is probably one of the most emotional ones of the series, because you have so many versions of "Look at the Flowers." What was it? We called it from Grapes of Wrath, or Grapes of what's the book called with the dumb big guy? You texted me about it.
Oh, of Mice and Men.
Of Mice and Men. Lenny and Mice and Men, because you have a couple characters in here like that. Of you have Ali. And I feel like the other guy, didn't he do something else? Wasn't there 2 like trickery going on where they both tricked each other? Another person got tricked into dying, or no? Somebody
in the marble game.
Yeah.
No, I mean the 2 girls, they just reminisced. They just talked.
Yeah, one
the gangster. It's actually funny that the evil gangsters guys, the mobsters, are the ones that are actually playing a fair game. If you consider that.
Yeah.
Jihan. He was trying to use the dementia against the old guy, and then Sang-woo was he just straight up screwed the other dude over. Yeah, but the gangsters are the only one that are actually playing a fair game where it's a battle of who's actually going to win the game. It was a weird a spin that they put on it. Just like, I see that. Okay.
Yep. So then we see player 1. The old man, or no, player 1 is who was player 1?
Ji-hoon.
The old man.
Ji-hoon.
Okay. He was playing against the old man, and the old man loses, and we see as soon as
Oh
I
yeah,
knew
Ilnam. Yeah, he's the old man. I'm sorry. You're right.
Gi Hung walked away after beating him. And I knew as soon as they didn't show the shot, I knew, okay, he didn't die. You don't show the body, there wasn't a death.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I've been around this block before. Yeah.
Exactly. So that game ends. Episode 7, I feel like is universally agreed upon as being the weakest of the series, called VIPs. You have, which you probably didn't notice because you were watching on dub the whole time, but the acting and the voices and all of that were so much worse than the Korean actors in the show. Just terrible. There's an interesting.
What was supposed to be so bad about them? Here's the thing: they were wearing masks, so you couldn't really, if you were watching it dubbed, you couldn't really match the words to whatever they were saying.
Okay.
And then if you're watching it subbed, I mean, that's pretty much. I don't know. I didn't really notice a difference in it compared to anything else that anybody was saying. Was it the dialogue that they were saying? Because I feel like they were meant to come off just like stupid rich American. I think we talked about it before. I watched The Hunt or something. You told me to watch something, and I mistook the movie. I ended up watching something with Dennis from Always Sunny.
Yeah,
a bunch of rich guys go to this island and just kill a bunch of people, and it was them basically. I mean, the dialogue was a little bit better, but it was still all yeehaw. I'm gonna laugh at a fart joke because we're rich, and I think that's just like a portrayal of a stupid rich person than with a bloodlust,
Yeah, but it was such an egregiously absurd, over the top caricature of Americans. You know what I mean? They were talking about this on the watch, and they got me into. What's the show? The Bureau, which is a French show, a very good show, and they watch that, and there's an American on that. And I feel like, I don't know, it must be a problem just across the board with foreign TV or foreign movies when you bring in an American like that, because it also happened in The Bureau where you just bring in, you drop an American into a foreign show, and they're just not going to click. It's not going to mesh well. You know what I mean? It's just such a turd in the punch bowl. It's just what I'm I'm enjoying this thing with all Korean people, all acting in a certain way, knowing the culture, knowing the language, and just, I don't know. It was a very, very jarring thing that happened there.
The VIPs in general, I also felt like weren't really necessary. Why do you have to? I mean, it makes sense when you think about it. Like, this is a game, so what happens in a game? Like, there have to be spectators. Yeah. That it seemed like a logical step, but they didn't even need that. Like, they could have just kept it the way it was. Hey, these are people in a bad way having to fight for some money. Like, that made sense.
I guess my problem, and a lot of people's problem, and remind me, were they all American? Were they all English speaking people?
No, I don't think so. I feel like there were a couple that had like an accent that weren't American. I think one or two. I think the one that was getting out the 69 joke, and the guy, the Texas dude, I assume, that was hitting on the police officer. those were Americans. That might have been the same one, but I feel like there was another guy in there that at least had a different accent. The one that was like pissed off all the time because his player lost. Maybe they're the same people. I don't know. Either way, I think there was different nationality in there.
Yeah. So in the episode, it's a pretty interesting game. You have a bridge with panels on it with some made of tempered glass or regular glass. You have one player that says he knows what the difference is just by looking at it, but doesn't tell anyone else. Then you have, let's see, Jang, and where's her name? Diuk, and Minyo grabs him, and for revenge for betraying her, takes him down with her. So you and Andy both saying this was not great because being the person that he was, he should have seen that coming. He should have used his weight against her, but he listened with his dick. In the face. He listened with his dick. He didn't think she would do that. You think with your dick too much and it'll cost you. So there you go.
Yeah. I mean, it had to come down to it. I personally would have rather seen Jang make it to the last stage.
Yeah.
And because 3 people make it to the last stage, and I think what should have happened is that Kang should have just fallen. I think it should have been the 3 men in the end. Just, I feel like the emotional, like, I get it. I know you later see why Kang made it. a little further. But at the same time, it was still like this pull on your heartstrings kind of thing. I feel like they could have made like a dramatic showing of her falling or something, and crushing everybody, crushing the remaining people. Well, not so much Sang-woo, but Ji-hoon. He would have been all upset about it for sure. You could have done it there, and it would have been fine. And then you still could have had that evil villain kind of thing leading to the climax.
Right.
I personally thought Jang should have survived. I thought he should have headbutted Han right in the face and knocked her off, and just like, ha ha, call me old man, ha ha, babe, ha ha. You know.
Yeah.
But I didn't write the show, so.
So yeah, let's finish this out. So one of the last games is basically they all go to a fancy dinner, steak dinner. After the dinner, they're all left with a knife. Lights go out. Ji-hung suggests to Se-byuk that they should ally against Sang-woo, realizing that he will go to any length to win. Se-byuk instead begs Ji-hung to promise that whoever wins the game will look after the other one's loved ones. Ji-hung then goes to Sang-woo when he falls asleep, but Se-byuk stops him, telling him he is not a murderer. Se-byuk's injuries worsen, prompting a desperate Ji-hung to run and call for help. Se-byuk is killed by Sang-woo when Ji-young is away and the staff only arrive to collect her body. Meanwhile, Jung-ho makes it to another island, but is quickly tracked down by the frontman and his staff. Jung-ho is the cop looking for his brother. To Jung-ho's shock, no one else is shocked, not my shock. I knew this. Saw this coming. The frontman reveals himself to be his brother, In-ho. In-ho shoots Jung-ho in the shoulder, causing Jung-ho to fall over the cliff and disappear into the water, coming back in season 2, most likely.
Yep, not dead.
Not dead. Last episode, there's a brutal game in the rain. The eponymous Squid game is played by Ji-hung and Sang-woo. Sang-woo refuses to complete the game. He attempts to invoke the game's third clause so that he and Sang-woo can leave alive, but Sang-woo stabbed himself in the neck. As he dies, Sang-woo asks Ji-hung to use the prize money to help his mother. A traumatized Ji-hung returns home to find his own mother has passed away. 1 year later, Ji-hung remains traumatized and has barely touched his prize money. One night, he receives a game invitation card. To his shock, he finds Oh Hyam, player 1, still alive but dying from his brain tumor. Il-nam is revealed to be the mastermind behind the game, which he created to entertain the bored ultra-rich like himself while testing if humanity had any innate goodness left in it. He reminds Ji-hung that despite allowing players to leave, many returned willingly, which we talked about earlier. These specific games are based on Il-nam's childhood, and he participated himself for nostalgia's sake. So that answered your question from earlier. As they talk, the two see an unconscious man lying on a street corner. In-ham asks Ji-hung to bet if someone will come help him after midnight. Ji-hung wins and Il-nam dies, presumably after witnessing his loss. Ji-hung fulfills his promise to Se-byuk and Sang-woo and leaves for the airport to connect with his daughter in Los Angeles. En route, he sees someone playing Jackie with the same game recruiter who found him. Jackie apparently is the red card, blue card game. He angrily snatches the player's card, and before boarding the plane, he calls his card number, demanding to know who is still running the games. The front man orders him to get on the plane. Ji-hung ends the call and stays in Seoul, determined to stop the game once and for all. So this gets to my other point of you and Andy and I think Carrie has a problem with, just see your daughter. Just be a good husband. Just be a good father. Just be a good mother. Sure. And just love your daughter. Just be a good person. We talked about this with The Crown and Mayor of Easttown and Ladybird and A Quiet Place. You were like, just hug your kid. Just be a good father.
Just do right by your kid, damn it. There's so many problems you can solve by just giving your kid a hug once in a while.
Sure. Yeah, it's the villain origin story. I didn't get hugged as a child enough. Yeah. So
I mean, that was ridiculous. Like, and you're saying this, and a lot of it was lost in translation. But he had these encounters with his daughter for people that
very not a good father.
It was just they were so tense, and it was just so awkward. And it's like he doesn't know how to be a dad. And ultimately, you realize why he turned around. That he felt like he was more connected to the game than he is to his daughter, and it's just an unfortunate thing, Sure. It's like you said, bad parents exist, but. It's just I felt it did the show a disservice But I mean, ultimately, you think about it. It's like this is a gambler, and what's he gambling with his life? So
Yeah.
like it doesn't matter how much money you win, because he wasn't even using the money that he won apparently.
Right.
And it just goes to show you that sometimes you're in this hole, and even if you get what you want, you're still not satisfied. How do you think they got there in the first place? They don't have that fix, you know, and the fix was the game for him at that point. Like, I went to a casino once, and this guy won like $500 on a hand, and I was like, holy shit, great job. And he's like, I lost 10 grand already. I was like, holy shit, why are you still here? But people can't do that. They don't know how to walk away, and that's what happened in the end. He just didn't know how to walk away, and there you go.
Yep, gotta know when to hold.
Got a season 2 out of it.
Gotta know when to fold them. Yeah, probably. So this is definitely one
Kenny
of the
Rogers.
Yeah, one of the best shows I've seen this year. Will definitely be on my list for the end of year show that we do every year. This and Mayor of Easttown. What else? Hacks. Hacks was very good. So yeah, definitely something.
Ted Lasso.
Ted Lasso. Yeah, we'll be discussing that after the break.
Yeah.
I
mean, this was a fine show. I mean, out of all
okay.
the shows that I'm going to watch in a year, I mean, this is one of them. This is one of the better ones so far. But at the same time, like, again, I feel like the ending didn't bring it home and left me unsatisfied. And for that, I would be hard pressed to put this at like the top of it, like any kind of list that I have going on right now.
Okay, didn't live up to the hype. Then you're saying.
Right, yeah, and I maybe I'm just tough for it, you know. Like I see shows like or movies like Hunger Game, and I watch Battle Royale, and each time, like I talk about it, there's a fuckery that goes about, and when you talk about things that you get tired of in movies, in this trope of movie, I kind of get annoyed that it has to always come against the establishment, you know. Like I just want to see like someone do what they got to do. Get it done and go home, you know? And like I maybe because I've never seen it before. The thing with Squid Games is like as this goes on, you knew like when he made the democratic vote to get everybody involved and like, hey, we don't have to do this. And even at the end where it's just like, we don't have to do this. We can both quit and there's no winner, you know? We can just walk away. Like yeah. I don't want to see that. I want to see a winner. And I want to see a winner win with conviction and just go about his life after, you know, take the prize and go.
Okay.
Because that was the whole point of this show, you know? They wanted to give someone a fair chance to get their life back, and he just spit in their face. Come on, bro.
Okay. All right. So you're on the side of the industrialist. You're on the side of the capitalist industrial complex.
Well, no. I just want to see him get his and live his life.
I know.
You know? But and yes, go hug your daughter. Go hug your goddamn daughter. Go buy her a present. Remember when he bought her the present, like in the machine, and he didn't know what was in the box, and it turns out it was a gun, and it was a lighter gun. But it's just like that. That's just so how ham-fisted he is at being a dad that it's just like I get it. I know why he turned around, but it's like damn, dude, damn.
Yeah. Okay, so
but it was a good show. It was a good show.
Okay, yeah, we went super long in that. So coming back after the break. Ted Lasso, talking about season 2, right after the break. See you then. And we're back talking Ted Theodore Lasso, season 2. Woo. Written and directed by Bill Lawrence from Scrubs and Jason Sudeikis from Dating Olivia Wilde. Ted Lasso was a character first played by Sudeikis when he and Brendan Hunt were both performing in Amsterdam in 2002 as part of the comedy troupe Boom Chicago, and the two American comedians had to grapple with the huge soccer scene in the city. Their response was coming up with the character of Ted Lasso, an American football coach with almost no knowledge of soccer rules. In 2012, after purchasing the Premier League US broadcasting rights, NBC pitched the idea of a short film featuring Lasso to the Premier League teams, who all rejected it except for one, Tottenham Hotspurs. The Spurs were so pleased with the idea that they created a short clip for their own team's YouTube channel, and ultimately the Spurs and NBC joined to create ad spots featuring Lasso. In 2017, Sudeikis and Bill Lawrence discussed creating a TV show with the character at the center of it. It finally debuted on Apple TV on August 14th. Season 1, August 14th, 2020, and Season 2 debuted August 6th, 2021, and concluded just a week ago on October 8th. So, Dion, what do you think of Ted Lasso Season 1 and 2?
I love it, man. It's a great show. It's just, Ted Lasso just killed it. Even the second season, you expect a lull. No, not even. Didn't even skip a beat and finished strong. And you could see where it was going to go. And man, all my homies hate Nate.
Yeah.
But I mean, I can't say enough good things about it. It's just a great show. It's just so like witty. It's fast paced jokes. I love the Beard character. That it's kind of like he while he doesn't say much, he's kind of like a bridge between like the other three coaches in the room, Roy and Nate and Lasso. And it's just kind of like he kills it, dude. I love Sudeikis' character in it, but Coach Beard is phenomenal. There's a part where it's just like he's like, I thought he was gonna headbutt me in the face or something. He's just like, I'll headbutt you in the face. It's just like, yeah, man, headbutt him right now, do it, please.
Yeah.
What'd you think about it?
Yeah, it's amazing. One of the best shows I've seen in a long time. I have some notes. Ted Lasso. It does a great job of showcasing the best of what Bill Lawrence does, but this has plenty of heart and empathy wrapped up in rapid-fire, witty dialogue and complex, deeply interesting characters. Jason Sudeikis acts his balls off when talking about seeing a couples therapist. So yeah, really, really great show. Yeah. And it was in the bar when they're having the talk about the therapist coming in and Sudeikis talking about going to see a therapist with his wife and him being like, I just feel like they were just ganging up on me, telling me everything I was doing wrong. Yeah. Don't like that.
Yeah, and who hasn't felt like that before?
Yeah.
You feel like you're right about something and they just you get beaten down. There are just days like that. Everybody's felt like that.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I was actually concerned about that too when they started focusing on panic attacks, and it was just like, oh man, Brown the psychologist was just like why has it got to get dark? This is such a lighthearted show. But you remember it's Bill Lawrence, and he always has he's got these great gut punches, but somehow at the end of it, you still feel like there's hope and everything. And watching Lasso go through this, it's just honestly a relatable thing to a lot of people, because it's really just his experiences and what he's going through. Not even the high stress of being a soccer coach. It's just, he's a normal person at times with a normal ass life that other people have experienced, and to see him kind of act that out has been nothing short but incredible.
Yeah, really, really good. I do have a few notes here. They're just one line, so I'll just rapid fire go through them. Let's see. Brendan Hunt, Coach Beard, can say so much with just a look. Jason Sudeikis is a style icon. His close-fitting clothes don't work on me because I'm shaped like a sniffler. I'm shaped like a sniffler glass. So look up a sniffler glass if you don't know what that looks like. Snifter. Honda Wineham's Rebecca can step on me. She can choke me. She can make me her little sussy baka. She's huge, dude.
That's funny. I was just we were talking in the group, and Andy was just, I knew Keely would be Andy's type, and you're just like, Rebecca could step on me anytime she wants.
Who is his type? Cutie?
His type? It's just the skinny, skinny cutie, I guess.
Well, what's her name? What's Roy Kent's girlfriend's name in this?
Keely.
Okay, yes, right. Cutie Keely, right. Brett Goldstein apparently looks like CGI was a thing that was trending on Twitter when the series was going on. One of the main conflicts is internal, with Ted fighting against his eternal optimism, and he faces conflict without using humor as a deflection method. So that was definitely what you're talking about with the panic attacks and going to see the therapist about that. One really great line that stuck out to me, because I do play a lot of video games, is Sharon, the therapist, says she doesn't eat sugar, and Lasso says, quote, "I'm the same way with video games. It's something in my life that I really enjoy. But then I pretend not having it will somehow make my life better. But in reality, I'm just depriving myself of something that makes me happy instead of adjusting my relationship with it." So that hit deep. Apparently, Roy Kent pooped his pants at some point. That was an out of context note I wrote down, so I'm not sure what that was about. I love, one of my favorite quotes of the entire season was, "You're like a wigwam in a teepee, 2 tenths."
2/10. Yep.
2/10. Yep. I like my water how Kyle Irving likes his earth. Flat. Okay.
I love his ongoing battle with tea.
With tea or water, yeah. With not bubbly. He doesn't like bubbly water.
He had one of those. I like
water.
I don't even say I like my tea like I like this, and he's just like, not having any.
Not having it.
Something like that. I don't know. That's funny.
Did you catch all the rom-com references in the 5th episode? She's like a rainbow moment. He says, "I'm just a coach asking Roy Kent to come back," and then Roy comes says, "You had me at come back, Roy." Like those are a bunch of like I've never seen what is it, Notting Hill or Love Actually, but I know
16 Candles,
16 Candles, shit like that. Did you catch all the references in the episode?
Yeah, no, I caught those references.
Okay.
Yep.
Sort of a long one here. In a blink and you'll miss it moment from earlier in the season, Higgins picks up a call from his wife. The ringtone is "She's like a rainbow. She's a rainbow." Could this have been a cheeky wink at the song's use in IMAX commercials since Ted Lasso is on Apple TV Plus? Maybe. However, in season 2, episode 5, aptly named Rainbow, we learn a little bit more about Higgins' ringtone choice and why it's important to him. As Higgins tells Rebecca, "She's a Rainbow" is a song that was playing when he met his wife. As he describes it, he was attempting to be a brooding punk, but when the song came on, he dropped that facade and tried playing upright air bass. He ended up spilling beer on himself, and Julie was the only person who didn't laugh at him. Not only that, but she gave him a rag to help him clean himself up with. The story comes in response to Rebecca's question about what Higgins' brand is when he met his wife. After thinking about it, he tells her, quote, "I suppose the best brand is just being yourself." That was a nice little moment. In episode 8,
Higgins is good for that kind of stuff.
He is very good. He had one of the best moments in season 1 where he said something, and then Lasso comes storming back into the room and scares the shit out of Rebecca. I forget what he said. Yep.
Dad, boy, high five, yeah.
I looked back on the text you guys were talking about when you guys were watching episode 8 when it first debuted. Beard After Hours is a direct homage to the 1984 Martin Scorsese film After Hours. I just watched this after watching season 2. It's not great. It's one of Martin Scorsese's lesser films. He had a real down period in the 80s. He had Raging Bull in 80. Then he did a bunch of movies right after that. Let me look it up real quick. So what did you think overall of that episode? Because you guys were saying, didn't need it or didn't really see the need for it, but I like that it came back around.
The Beard episode?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really see the need for it. When you got like I watch Scrubs, and they often JD's pretty much all the time he's the narrator, but there are times where he would kind of touch the other person, like Turk or Elliot or something, and they would be the voice of the narrator of the episode basically, and be going through their life. Right. So I'm not surprised that they took this path. It wasn't a terrible episode, but I guess when I'm so invested in the Ted Lasso character and seeing everybody together, to have just one episode with just one person in it, even if it is Coach Beard, what was kind of a letdown, but it was fine for what it was.
Yeah.
Getting to know the trio of dudes that are always hanging out at the bar.
Yes,
that was pretty fun, and there were some heartwarming moments in that. Yeah,
it really was a little neat. Highlight of Beard. I like that a lot. So After Dark is a 1984-85 comedy. Starred Griffin Dunn. Tommy Chong was in it. They had both the parents from Home Alone in it. John Hurt and Catherine O'Hara are both in it. It's a nice little comedy. But yeah, downturn in the 80s with Scorsese. It's interesting. He did Raging Bull in 1980. Then he did The King of Comedy in 1982 with Robert De Niro and Jerry Lewis. Then After Hours in 85. Then he does Color of Money, which was a sequel to The Hustler in 86 with Tom Cruise and Paul Newman. The Temptation of Christ in 1988. Then he comes back with Goodfellas in 90 and Cape Fear in 91. Then he does Casino in 95. Sort of a lull again in the late 90s with Kundun and Bringing Out the Dead. But then he comes back with Gangs of New York in 2002. Then he goes on a run with The Aviator, Departed, Shutter Island, and all that stuff. Hugo, Wolf of Wall Street. Yep. So finally, let me get into the last tier bits. Keely's cleavage at the funeral could have brought the dead back to life. That was just popping out. Holy shit. And then we all got rickrolled at the funeral, which I thought was a nice moment, which was interesting. Have that song.
Such a ridiculous moment. I enjoyed that too. And that's another time, Ted Lasso, even though he's going through his own shit, he still comes through for everybody else.
Yes.
Like she was up there all by herself and everyone's kind of like, what the fuck's going on? And then he's just like, never gonna let you down. And it's like, see, you don't let people down because you're a good goddamn person.
Yeah. So I feel like overall, I like season 1 a little bit better. I feel like this is like a transition period to 3. I think Bill Lawrence has said that unequivocally there's only going to be 3 seasons, whether there's a spinoff or whether there's another thing, going on with it. I don't think they're going to turn down that fat Apple check after 3 seasons, but I like the idea that it's going to be just a 3-season thing with this. Yeah.
It's a nice goal to keep it short, sweet. Nice little bow, neatly wrapped at the end. But if they do go a little bit further, all for it. Scrubs, like the first 3 episodes, like when they would say that like this show emulates what it's like to work in a medical profession, like closest, they were talking about the earlier seasons of it. At 4 or 5 and on, it shit got zany. Actually, season 5 was just out of control zany. But it's not a bad thing. Like, if we get to a season 4, maybe Ted Lasso gets a little bit more crazy, and not bad crazy, but they just let the chain off and just like it's just dad jokes and I don't what would you metaphors all over the place, goofy metaphors,
and just
or
obscure.
just Roy starts becoming. What? Imagine Roy dropping one of those funny metaphors or something. I don't know. There's so much room they could grow there.
Obscure references all over the place, and it's just I feel like Roy doing that, and I feel like somebody else started doing that too. And it's like, well, no, you just have Ted do that. Have Higgins do that a little bit, but you don't need to have everyone being that guy. I feel like.
Yeah. I could see something like maybe like at the end of season 3, Ted Lasso decides he wants to go back to the States to see his family.
Yeah.
And maybe they just keep going with Roy and Coach Beard or something.
Yeah.
Maybe give that a shot.
Yeah.
The Office, eventually Michael left. Maybe they do that here. It wasn't terrible after Michael left. It wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible.
Yeah. So did you like season 1 or season 2 better?
I think I like season 1 better just because it was just so, I don't know, it just scratched this itch that I had, just very lighthearted. There wasn't like any real negativity, and it's just like all episodes were like always winning kind of, and even when he lost, it still felt like a win. When you get into the darker stuff, it's just like, I don't like, dude, this show's got me teary quite a few times, and it's never been like, it's just one of those ones. It's just like, man, I'm so invested in this character that, I feel this way, and that's an awesome thing. I think personally, I prefer to be happier more than depressed, like feeling bad for Ted Lasso. Sure. So season 1, I would say it gets the edge just because I was happier. I felt better with what I was watching.
Sure.
Sometimes in season 2, it's just like, man, this is a very depressing moment. And while it's relatable, it hits home, stuff like that, it's just maybe not really what I personally enjoy out of Ted Lasso. It's a great story, but like I said, I prefer the happiness.
Yeah. So let's wrap it up.
But I can tell you, at the end of season 2, you know what? A direct quote. You know how I felt at the end of season 2.
Say it.
Because then I don't know when season 3 is coming out. Come on.
most likely next year. Even during the height of COVID, they still shot this and got it out there. The first season debuted even just a year ago, so even during all that, they still managed to make it. So most likely coming out next year at the same time.
I'm not sure. I should look that up. I don't want to be disappointed though and have it like canceled. Like season 2, I started watching, I think when season 2 was kind of in stride.
Oh, okay.
And So I just kept Apple TV around for like an extra month or so to finish out the season.
Oh, gotcha.
So I kind of watched it all in one shot.
Gotcha.
Well, it was a very easy watch though. Very easy watch.
Yeah, each episode was like 30, 35 minutes. As I kept going, it kept getting longer. I feel like some of them were like 45 minutes, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Yep. So
question, what do you think about Nate? Where does he rank in top villains of all time?
Pretty high up there. You know, I don't want to get into it too much because I want to, get onto the video game stuff. But it's, he's one of these guys that to be a good villain, you have to sympathize with them a little bit. You have to understand where they're coming from a little bit. And I kind of don't. He's kind of just a jerk.
Yeah, agreed.
He's kind of.
I felt like that was one of the rare misses there.
Yeah.
That, Nate wasn't relatable in his thing. And at the same time, like Ted just kind of took it on, just like, I'm sorry, I understand.
Yeah,
I know you're mad at me, but like he was diffusing it, and Nate didn't want that. He wanted to like be headbutt in the face, about.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, continue. I interrupted you.
No, it's fine. The slow graying of his hair was interesting. It's sort of like they were talking about this as being like the Empire Strikes Back season. So it's interesting to have like a sort of a Sith moment or a Sith. What do you call that? When people go to the dark side, they always have like a physical change to them. So it was interesting to sort of bring that into this show where it's like he's becoming darker. He's going, he's becoming more evil.
Even the team that he had was black and silver.
Yes,
at the end,
they're always the bad teams are always in black. It's always wasn't the Muddy Ducks team against Iceland, and Iceland were in black.
Yeah, well, black is just like a devoid of emotion. It's just it's supposed to be the evil empire kind of thing.
Yeah. Just one more thing. I think
when you saw the sign, like that was it for me. There's no redemption.
You tore up the sign. You can't do that.
He's dead.
You just can't do that. Yeah, there was. I think a lot of people maybe were thinking it came on too quickly of the turning to the dark side, but you saw it in season 1 where he's just laying into everybody. He finally gets the chance to roast everybody, and a lot of the shit he said was actually just mean what he said to them. So there was definitely the spark was there. The seed was planted in the first episode of where he could have gone in season 2.
Like when he freaked out on the equipment manager.
Yeah,
because he was mad that his daddy doesn't love him that much, and he had to take it out on somebody.
Yeah.
And he was always on him anyways because of the fabric softener. It doesn't smell like lavender or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah. He's just a bully, and it was tough to see. And I like Ted taking it personally. Maybe I don't know. Like imagine somebody who's so close, who was let into Ted's inner circle becomes a person like that. Is got to be a bitter pill for Ted to swallow. Like he's undoubtedly going to blame himself for this.
Yeah,
and he doesn't have, and he shouldn't. He shouldn't have to.
Right.
But I'd talk about it more. But you want to move on? I get it. Move on.
Sure. So lastly, some games I've been playing, or the only game, the thing that's been keeping my attention every waking moment has been playing Escape from Tarkov for the past 4 months. So they had a wipe in June, which meant everyone started back at square one, level 1. Everyone had the same weapons, same skill level, not skill level, but all their actual characters had level 1 movement speed, reload speed, all that stuff got reset for everybody. So what this game is...
That doesn't make you mad?
Well, that's the thing, is that that's the reason I'm rushing. That's the reason almost all of my time and attention has been on this game for the past 3 months, is because you have this sort of Damocles hanging over your head for the wipe. The wipe usually comes every 6 months or so. The last one came in June, so the next one's going to be in December. And they have an objective to get to, which is called Kappa. You get the Kappa container. And what that is in Escape from Tarkov, it's a survivalist type game where you go in and you play one round for 45 minutes, as opposed to something like Call of Duty, which, what's around these days? What was Call of Duty around? Like 7 minutes, 8 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, right?
Yeah, I mean, depending on how badass you were, like I can end that real quick. 25 kills is nothing for me.
Get that nuclear. What's the bomb? The not the atom bomb. You get the What was the thing? You get 25 kills and then you set off the...
It's the nuke.
The nuke. Yes, thank you. So Tarkov is a game where you start off in your hideout and you have your guy and you're like, okay, what run out? What, can't think of anything right now. What do you call the thing? The setup. You set up your guy in Call of Duty. What's that called? You have your kit. You kit out your guy.
Quartermaster?
Run your, what's the thing you're running? I'm running run Marathon Pro.
The like the class,
class, yeah. But the thing, it's the whole thing you call it. What's your run out? What's your run?
Loadout.
Loadout. Thank you. Your loadout.
You're close.
Yeah, your loadout in Call of Duty was just what's your ability? What's your gun? Bing bang boom. You're good to go. In Tarkov, your loadout is comprised of not just your gun, but what ammo do you want to what ammo do you want to use? What scope do you want to use? What stock do you want to use? What foregrip do you want to use? All this stuff dramatically changes how your gun shoots. You can't really adjust anything ability wise. There's nothing you can apply that will make you run faster or run for a longer period of time. All of that is level based. So as you run, you can run farther. Because that's the thing with the game is that's why it's so addictive, because as you run, your stress or your stamina level can go up. So every few minutes, your stamina level, you can run farther. You can run for a farther period of time. Your stamina regenerates faster. So week 1, you feel like a weak piece of shit. Week 2, you feel a bit stronger. So every game you play, every day you play it, your guy gets a little bit stronger, it's a little bit easier to kill other people. So that is the dopamine drip that keeps me playing this game every day, because your strength is going up, your ability to, sometimes at the beginning of the wipe, you get shot and you'll immediately die, or your arm will break, or that's the other thing. So let me just go back to the loadout. Loadout is not just your gun, it's your helmet. What kind of helmet do you want? Do you want the $30,000 helmet? Well, you need 30,000 rubles. Do you want the $250,000 helmet that'll stop almost any bullet all the time? Well, then you need to have a lot of more money. You need to have your hideout going. Your hideout is it generates Bitcoin. So you can have a Bitcoin generator once you build that out. And that takes 35 actual hours. So not only do you have to accrue all of the material to actually build the hideout, to build the Bitcoin miner, you have to then wait 35 actual hours for the Bitcoin thing to build up. So you're like, you're investing so much time into this game. You're just like, well, I invested 2 actual days into this fucking thing. I'm going to get as much use out of it as I possibly can. So let me just go in there. Let me just, do this one thing. Let me just grab this Bitcoin and sell it. Oh, I have enough money for a good loadout. Let me do that. Let me do a quick loadout with the money I earned from my Bitcoin. Just one game is the thing you always say. You always hear about, just one more game. And this game is the most scariest game I've played, because you invest so much into your loadout and so much into one run and so much into one raid. You go into the raid, right? So you've paid for your gun, you paid for your ammo, you paid for the, you have to bring in more magazines, you have to bring in extra magazines. If you only have one magazine and you hit the reload button, you cannot reload because you have nothing to reload to. So you have to have a rig that can carry 3 or 4 extra magazines. And a magazine, takes up 2 slots in your rig. So you'd have a big rig. You have to have a rig that can carry all that stuff, in addition to all of the healing, all of your, all the stuff that can heal you, all the stuff that can stop heavy bleeding, light bleeding. You need something that can stop tremors. You need to bring food and water, because if you stay in too long, your energy will go down. And if your energy goes down, you can't, your stamina will stop regenerating, so you can't sprint anymore. So you need food, water, ammo, all this stuff to bring in there. So you've invested so much time into just going into the raid. And if you die in the raid, you lose all of that stuff. And you don't get it back. None of it. None of it. So this is the scariest.
That doesn't sound enjoyable.
This is the scariest, and it has the highest highs I've ever played in the game, and of course the lowest lows. You play it for those highs, right? You go into those moments where you get the jump on another player, and that feels so fucking good, because you have to have, in addition to all the armor, you have to have good speakers on your actual character, so you can hear people in the distance coming at you from the left to the right. And if you hear somebody and you actually can shoot them and get them down, it feels so fucking good. A, because it takes a really long time to kill people. B, because if somebody shoots you, your guy is just if somebody hits you, your guy actually jolts backwards for a second, and you have to adjust for that, and you have to keep yourself calm, and you have to do all the stuff you would normally do to stay alive in a regular game, but also remember that to not have the jitters of losing your gear, because right, if you lose that gunfight, you're just not going to spawn back in 2 seconds. You're going to lose everything, and you have to spend so much time going back into the raid. So one of the scariest moments I had yesterday, or actually pretty frustrating, was I got shot at, and I run into this building, pretty small building, and they know I'm in the building, so they're just fucking with me, and they throw in a couple of grenades, and it misses. It explodes in the next room, so you've got this shrapnel around you, you've got these grenades going off all around you, and you've got this team of 2 people outside the building taunting you, and there's no like voice over IP, there's no actual voices, but they're just going, "We smell the rat! Get out here! We know you're in there. We're gonna flush you out, you piece of shit." So I'm on this floor. I'm prone in this fucking shack in the middle of nowhere with these 2 guys chucking grenades in and fucking yelling at me. I'm like, motherfuck. So I just get up and I fucking, sprint at them, try to get one guy down at least, but no, he saw me. There was like this little hallway. There's this little like mud room on the this other, to get out of the building. It's like there's just a small, very very small building. It has one room, a living room, and like a mud room, and then it's outside. And this guy was just sitting right in front of the mud room, and it just took me out as soon as I poked my head out. So one of the scariest games I've ever played. Damn. One of the most. It's a beautiful game too. It runs really well on my PC. So it's a really actually beautiful looking game, beautifully made. Guns feel real. As you're walking, you can feel, your guy feels heavy. The gun feels heavy. The gun feels real. You hear all of your stuff in your backpack and on your rig and your gun as you're walking, and your gun is bobbing up and down, and it goes all of these sounds it all adds up to a very immersive experience. So the Escape from Tarkov, it is incredible game, one of the most intense games, one of the most time consuming games I played, but I like it.
I can tell.
So
where's it rate on your all-time favorite games?
It's probably up there. I'm not gonna lie, probably up there in my top 3 favorite games I've ever played, because everything I just said. It's better. I think, top 3. So it would be this. It would be what else? I don't even know. Maybe Call of Duty. Maybe Hades? Rocket League. This and Rocket League. The things I put thousands of hours into. Hades. Yeah, Hades was very good. Hades was a very good one of those. Very good. What's it called? Roguelike game. I really really like that one. So yeah, right now it's probably Tarkov, Rocket League, and Hades. Top 3 games of all time.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
Very nice.
Couple more things I've done since you last spoken to me on the mics. I've read. I'll just go through a couple of the highlights of the books I've read. Tender is the Flesh is a post-apocalyptic book about people where all of the creatures, all of the animals in the world that gave us meat, that we ate meat from, they're all dead. Some, virus killed all of the animals that we usually eat meat from. So all the meat packing plants that didn't have anything to do anymore started killing people. So now it's about this employee that works in a meat packing plant. I'm talking about his the average week in the life of a meat packer in a world in which we pack people meat instead of animal meat. So that was an interesting book. Another one was This Is How You Lose the Time More. This was recommended to me by Joanna Robertson when they were talking about Loki. They said this was a book that the showrunner was heavily influenced by, so I read that. That was pretty good. The Outsider is a good Stephen King book. It was adapted into a miniseries on HBO starring Ben Mendelsohn a few years ago. That was pretty good. I read The Shining, a classic Stephen King book. Very, very good. Loved the movie. The book was very good as well. Blood Meridian was a book written by Cormac McCarthy, the same guy that wrote No Country for Old Men and The Road. If you like those 2 books, I would highly recommend Blood Meridian. He's a extremely poetic prose. One of my favorite writers that I've read probably in my life. Probably top 3 writer. What did I just say? Cormac McCarthy, very, very good writer. I read Misery, another Stephen King book, and the first 3.5 books in the Wheel of Time series. So that's highlight of some of the stuff I've been listening to over the past 3 months. So now is the time of the show where I ask you if you are going to get into Succession, because as we speak into these mics, as I say these words, Succession is coming back for its third season on HBO. Right after we're done here, I'll probably be checking out the first episode in the third season of Succession. Are you going to be checking out this show?
Yeah, I'm going to check it out.
Okay.
I need something else to watch now, and that is one of the ones. That's a front runner. So
all right.
I will be checking out some of Succession.
Very cool. Yeah, let me know. Let me know when you're caught up on that, because you have to get caught up in the first two seasons, correct?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Let me know how that goes, and then we can chat about that next time.
Will do.
All right. I thought there was something else here we had. Oh yeah, beer debris.
I played some games.
Oh, you played some games. Okay. See, they got to put that stuff in.
You're talking about the Sword of Damocles. I've still been playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
It's nice.
That's the sword that my half brother Deimos has. So confrontation with him is imminent. I've also played Pokemon Sword. Been playing that with my kid. He doesn't like to read. Well, I mean, he's fine with reading. He doesn't like to battle. Then I'm kind of asking him, what's the point of playing this game if you don't like to battle? Because that's pretty much all you do. Right. But he likes to catch the Pokemon and then ride the bike around the areas. So that's pretty much everything that he gets out of it. I have to beat all the gym leaders and the battles that he doesn't want to.
Yeah.
He's still young enough where he doesn't really understand type advantages and such like that. So I've been teaching him my knowledge of the Pokemons.
Nice.
Pokemans.
Awesome.
And then I've been playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and it's just killing things all the time.
Yeah.
Like just disemboweling. And I had been feeling down, so I'm going through a PlayStation store, and I'm looking around at games, and I saw the Saga Frontier. You ever play that game?
I have not.
It was a PlayStation game.
I heard of it though.
Yep. I was playing a gacha on my phone that involves all the sagas, the romancing sagas and everything like that. But there was a remaster of one that I had when I was younger. So I was like, hey, and that game was hard, dude. It was a pain in my ass. So like you had no idea what your objective was going from town to town. And I got the remaster of it. And, I'm just going through it, and I'm hearing the music. It had great music, and just getting that vibe, feeling what I felt like when I was playing it for the first time when I was like a teenager, and just having a good time. And still, that game is going into a 36-year-old who understands video games now. It's a little bit easier for me to follow the path, but they added this feature where you can review the story, and it'll tell you what the next thing, because it was so unclear most of the time. They had to literally add this feature, like the story thing. You could go back. I just did this. This is what you do next. So it's like got like this little safeguard. And I'm not really playing around at this point. Like I'm having fun, and it was a feel good thing for me. But I'm like, I also want to see how this fucking game ends, because I've never beaten it. And there's like 8 different paths you can take. And so I've been having fun with that. Just getting that nostalgia feels right in my belly. So, been having fun with that. Those are the games I've been playing.
Very nice. Awesome. Okay, so I think that'll do it for episode 122 of the Can I Say Something podcast. If you have anything else to say, now's the time, buddy.
I'm going to say goodbye.
Okay. So with that, I've been Damien.
I've been Dia.
And we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.